to the FanDuel Punch-Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11, taking a look at the early-only slate here on FanDuel. It's the larger of the two. You're looking just later, the main one just 4 games, so tackling it, pretty good GPP sizes. Happy 4th of July, everyone. And jumping right into things, you're looking at the Rangers and Red Sox leading things off. 1:35 start time. There is no Rays and Angels. There's no 1:10 game here, so you get an extra 20 minutes, 25, whatever it is, to start building those lineups and get them in those last minute changes. So Rangers and Red Sox. And for me, I mean, looking at the Red Sox side of things, you like kind of picking on Nick Martinez. We always have in the past, and you're going to do so with a lot of these guys. Mookie Betts, only 4K. Yes, he's top price. He's one of the top price outfielders, but definitely you can fit him in with the pitching on today's slate. There's really not a lot of expensive options, and Kyle Hendricks is your most expensive guy. So no one over 10K, and you can feel pretty comfortable about locking in some big names. I like the right-handers against Martinez. Obviously, you have to like Ortiz, but you can even look at a 3-5 Hanley. I don't mind that against Martinez. So I think you can feel pretty comfortable targeting with really 1 through 6 here. Jackie Bradley Jr. 3-6. Xander Bogaerts 3-5. That Bogaerts price is pretty nice. So really, I mean, kind of the same thing that we've always been dealing with, and that's the Red Sox against bad pitching, and it usually comes through. So projected for the highest run total on the slate here with the Sox. So obviously you're going to look for them for offense. In the past, I mean, I've looked at lefties against Porcello. He's been fairly tough on them this year. It's been more so the right-handers that have gotten to him. 351 WOBA, 1.67 home runs per 9 this year. I don't mind an Ian Desmond, 3.6. It's not a bad price tag. An Adrian Beltre at 3K. Obviously, the lefties are still in play, but kind of more so GPP threats for me. And that's kind of how I'm looking at this Texas offense. I don't think Porcello is going to have a bad start, but I do think 3 to 4 earned runs from him, and obviously then you get to the pen and see what the Rangers can do. But just kind of depends on how that shapes up, and I can't really see Porcello having that blow-up factor where really 1 through 6 kind of goes off. I think it's going to be the select guys, and I think it's going to be the right-handers that kind of do the damage. Mariners and Astros, Wade Miley versus Lance McCullers. The Astros side of things, obviously you like a lot of these prices. I love Jose Altuve at 3.8. I think that's a really nice price tag for him going up against a lefty. Obviously, you got to like George Springer at 4.3, Correa at 3.6. Not a fan of Carlos Gomez at 3.6, who's really just not quite the player he used to be. Obviously, a GPP threat just because Wade Miley's been so bad against righties. 349 WOBA, 1.56 home runs per 9 this season. Just about what he's been doing for the most of his career. Now you get him outside of Safeco. So Springer, Altuve, Correa, Gomez in play. Also, Evan Gattis at 2.9's decent catching options, so you got to like that. The Mariners side of things, not really looking to pick on McCullers. McCullers one of the better arms on the slate. I'm not exactly using McCullers because I'm not a big fan of taking guys against the Mariners, but I think they just kind of wash each other off. I think the slate's big enough for me where I can just kind of cancel out both sides of things. A's and Twins, and here I like the prices much more on both sides than I did on DK. And talking about the Twin side of things, I don't mind attacking Kendall Graven from both sides of the plate. I think you got to feel comfortable taking an Eduardo Nunez at 3.6, a Dozier at 3.6, and GPPs. And also you got to like those price tags of Robbie Grossman and Max Kepler. We know their upside, 3.1 and 3.3 for them is pretty intriguing options. Miguel Sano as well, 2.8. That's a really nice price tag for guys coming back, and for a right-hander that doesn't really miss a ton of bats. So I think you can look at the Twins. I think you can look at this game as one of the popular offensive ones on both sides. I think these price tags are much more playable in cash. I'm not going to really stack anyone here in cash games, but I do think one-offs, they're definitely intriguing if they fit the piece of the puzzle. On the A side, obviously Nolasco really hasn't been that great against both sides of the plate. For lefties, 3.37 WOBA, 1.02 home runs per 9. 349 WOBA, 1.55 for right-handed bats against Nolasco this year. And for me, 1 through 6, very playable. I like Stephen Vogt at 2.9. It's a really nice price tag. The kind of big hitters there like Josh Reddick, Danny Valencia, Chris Davis. 3K, 3.5, and 3.4. Really nice mixture there of guys. I like Reddick at that 3K price tag. I also don't mind Crisp and Lowry as well. So I do think 1 through 6 A's are certainly in play. I mentioned on DK that Target Field is much more playable in the summertime for hitters. It doesn't really stick out as a pitcher's park to me when those temperatures start to heat up. So you can look at those guys and expect some a lot of upside, and I think cash game playable for most of those bats there, especially on the A side. Yankees and White Sox and CC Sabathia versus James Shields. I like a lot of these prices in this game. I'm looking more so at the lefties against Shields here. He's cheap. He's struggled. Obviously, he's coming off his best start so far in the Sox uniform. And you look at Shields and what he's done against lefties this year and what he's given up. 371 WOBA, 1.32 home runs per 9, average ground ball rate. Strikeout rate's still been pretty solid, but still, I think you got to like here. Ellsbury at 3.5, Gardner 3.8's a little expensive for me, but obviously certainly still in play. U.S. Cellular friendly for lefty power. Brian McCann priced up a little bit, but I don't mind him at 3.7. Kind of more of a GPP option. Mark Teixeira is still cheap. He's actually hitting pretty well since coming back from his injury. So definitely look at the lefty side of things here. White Sox side, obviously you got to like the righties against Sabathia, who's given up 11 earned over his last 2 starts. That's kind of what you're looking at as far as attacking CC Sabathia. We talked about the regression coming as far as not really using him over the last few starts, and 2 of the 3 we've been right on. So Abreu's price here a little bit higher than I like. Hasn't really been quite that great this season, so definitely a GPP only. I don't mind Anderson at the 2.9 price tag. That's solid for me. Frazier, Brett Lowry, obviously GPP plays. Because this White Sox offense really isn't that consistent, and Abreu's a little bit more expensive here. Obviously, their GPP targets outside of Anderson. Anderson's still a safe cash game guy for me at shortstop at that price tag. So definitely tread lightly, but I do think there obviously is some upside. Unfortunately, you're going to get to a pen that's pretty decent, so I think they got to do a majority of the damage off of CC Sabathia. So Pirates and Cardinals, and I like the Cardinals price tags here. More so guys like Matt Holliday facing John Neese, and you just look at Neese. 383 WOBA allowed, 2.11 home runs per 9 this year to right-handed bats. Diaz in play for me, 3.9. Matt Holliday and Piscotty, I like those price tags. I don't mind a Johnny Peralta, all below 4K. Piscotty's hit lefties really well this season. Vegas with a run total about 5 could creep up. So I think you can look to really target Neese. And as far as the Pirates side of things, you're not really looking at a lot of offense there, and it hasn't really been there of late. These guys are cheap. Martinez is an above-average right-handed arm, so for me, it's a stay-away situation, kind of much like Seattle. Kind of those teams that you can just kind of cross off the radar. So much more looking at the Cardinal side of things there. Cubs and Reds. I'm looking at Kyle Hendricks as a cash game arm today. Cubs are monster favorites. Reds often struggling, not good against right-handed pitching. So Hendricks is a fine option. I'm not looking at any Reds against him. But as far as the Cubs side of things goes, Zobrist 4K, more expensive than Altuve, which is interesting here. So expect him to carry very low ownership. I think he works well into really just a Cubs stack only for me. I still can't see myself making the swerve from Zobrist to Altuve, or from Altuve to Zobrist. I think that's just too hard of a situation to pull off. I can't really stomach doing that. Altuve is just too good against southpaws and cheaper as well. I like the Bryant 4.1. I like Rizzo's price tag here at 3.4. I know it's lefty on lefty, but Rizzo definitely has potential here. And at that price, I don't mind taking shots. And you just look at Reed. Hasn't really been that great of an arm, obviously pretty unproven. So you like a lot of these right-handed guys too. Chris Bryant, as I mentioned, 4.1. Wilson Contreras, guys like Javier Baez, Addison Russell, I really don't mind. Russell's super cheap. Contreras 2.9, nice price tag there for him. Reed, really small sample size, but 468 WOBA, 49% hard ball rate over 13 innings against righties this year, 3.38 home runs per 9. So obviously that's something to consider. You're looking at the Cubs offense kind of in line with the Red Sox, with the Yankees, with the White Sox. I think they all have potential. That Oakland Twins series, the guys are pretty obvious here as far as what teams you really want to target. A's and Phillies this next one, and I talked about Atlanta being at some decent spots here, like a Freddie Freeman 3.6. He's the only kind of honorable mention for me. Other guys aren't quite cheap enough. And you just look at Eichhoff. I mean, 326 WOBA to lefties hasn't been great, but hasn't been bad either. Freeman, obviously, the only one with potential in that lineup to do some damage. So, because he's in a bad lineup, Freeman's always just kind of a GPP play for me. As far as the Philly side of things go, I like Odubel Herrera. The price tag's high, but he's been consistent. You just look at Joel De La Cruz, a pretty average right-hander. Phillies 4.5 projected runs and above. They're not a bad option to target, and they got some guys that are all at decent price tags. Cody Ash, lefty, if he's in the lineup at 2.6. Maikel Franco at 3.4. I don't mind Cameron Rupp still, so they hit off against Ventura, and they do have some long ball potential from some of those guys. And obviously, outside of Herrera, I think this is more of a GPP team to target, but definitely doable. Rockies and Giants, you got Tyler Anderson on the hill, the lefty, and obviously Posey at 3.4 is going to be intriguing. Angel Pagan at 2.8, I don't mind. And even a Brandon Crawford, the lefty-on-lefty matchup, I don't hate either. I kind of like the Rockies bats. I mean, they've kind of let me down here. So, I mean, obviously you're going to lean on more so in tournaments than you are in cash games. But Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, Cargo 3.2. Cargo 3.2 against Peavy is pretty intriguing. Just because Peavy against lefties, 395 WOBA this season allowed. And for me, I mean, that's just kind of something to really target against. And even against right-handers, PV 325. Nolan Arenado, Cargo, a little bit better on the road than Blackmon is. So I think you can kind of look at them as really popular plays, from the Rocky side in that lineup. I'm not really looking at those secondary pieces. So outside of that, I think you can kind of stay away from most of those other names. I'm not really expecting Trevor Story back in the lineup either. Marlins and Mets, this one kind of a stay away situation for me on both sides. Obviously, Stanton at 3.2, still a nice price tag, but you're looking at Harvey, it's not a perfect matchup. Either one have really been themselves this season, so maybe you see one come on top today, maybe you don't. Granderson, Neil Walker still at a mediocre price tag from both sides, 3.1 and 3.2 for them. Obviously, look at Kohler, not really that strong of an arm. Lefties have hit him pretty well this season too, so he could run into some trouble. 362 WOBA allowed there, pretty low ground ball rate. So guys like Granderson back in the lineup, Neil Walker intriguing. Obviously, Neil Cespedes is certainly there, always in play, and at a decent price tag as well. And then getting lower, I mean, you have a punt option with Travis d'Arnaud. Guys like Kelly Johnson could possibly be in play. Wilmer Flores. So Mets kind of have a little bit of everything, kind of top through bottom value. And I wouldn't actually be surprised if they kind of kept this offensive show going. They've beaten three solid pitchers in a row, and obviously Tom Kohler, maybe this is the day that they actually don't show up is against Tom Kohler when everyone expects them to, just because that's how baseball goes. But overall, I think the Mets are kind of the team to target. Not really looking to pick on Matt Harvey, but maybe you think he's going to blow up. You can obviously still look at these guys at a fairly lower price tag than we have in the past. That's going to wrap things up here with the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com and go enjoy your 4th of July.